I'm making this video because it is widely searched on the internet still, and so the world is clearly still in need of some guidance on this topic. And by guidance, I mean bringing the world back to the truth about how to get in the best shape of your life. And so in this video, we're going to talk specifically about what are the best foods for muscle gain, if there are any. Let's get to it. What up, YouTube? It is Coach John back again, repping Beyond the Iron. I drop weekly fitness content on lifestyle, fat loss, muscle gain, and just becoming a better version of yourself in general. So if you're somebody who's interested in improving in those things, then make sure you hit the subscribe button below, the notification bell, and hit the like button while you're at it as well. I do want to mention before we get started, I do have some spots open currently for my one-on-one premium coaching. So if you're interested in working together to get you to those goals, you can apply down below. We'll jump on the phone, we'll discuss and see how we can get you there. Now, of course, I'd be doing you a tremendous disservice if I didn't preface this video by saying, look, if there's magical foods that help you build muscle faster than others, it still doesn't matter if you're not eating enough quantity of food. So if you're eating too little of any food, you will simply not have the tools and the resources available in your body to build muscle. Caloric surplus and the appropriate macro split is definitely first and foremost. Now, this video is not going to tell you how to do those. You can check out my other videos that I've made before that do go into detail about that. And of course, eating magical foods will still not make up for your garbage training, assuming that your training sucks, that is. If you need help with that as well, I've got plenty of content on the channel. I'll just link all those videos up top for you. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now, it may come to you as no surprise that there are some foods that are better than others when it comes to muscle gain. And also, probably to no surprise, the foods that are better happen to be nutrient-dense sources. Yes, unfortunately, it's 2020 and I still have to make a video explaining to you the foods that are best for muscle gain when they are quite apparent and right under our noses. So, nutrient-dense sources, what I mean by this, whole foods, foods with lots of vitamins, minerals, healthy foods, as people like to call them. Okay, so let's give you an example. A nutrient-dense food for protein, let's say chicken breast, okay? Very lean protein source, not a lot of fats, low saturated fats, not a lot of carbs in there, no problem. Let's compare it to a chocolate bar or maybe a protein bar, okay? Maybe a chocolate protein bar. The chocolate protein bar is typically fortified with some nutrients in there, but it is just not the same makeup as the chicken breast is. It's typically lower protein, higher carbs, and if not, it's still gonna be a lot more expensive for what you're getting. Got a lot of processed chemicals in it, etc. Now, I'm not against that food, but when it comes to which foods are best for muscle gain, as is the title of this video and why you clicked on it, we gotta talk about the best of the best. So nutrient dense will be the chicken breast. Calorie dense is, let's say, a chocolate bar that doesn't have a lot of vitamins and minerals in it at all. So the nutrient dense food, the one with higher protein, higher fiber, higher vitamins and minerals is always better. And let me explain why. A big contributor to muscle gain, okay? When your body is in an anabolic state, anabolic meaning a building up state. This is the state you need to be in to build muscle. Typically, something known as a positive nitrogen balance has to be occurring in the bloodstream. So when you consume protein, you typically turn on a switch in the nitrogen balance in your blood, turns it to positive. This creates a more anabolic environment for your body to actually go ahead and build muscle. Now, for this positive nitrogen balance, we want to ensure that we stay in a positive nitrogen balance for as long as possible. The longer we stay in an anabolic state, the more favorable it is for our bodies to build muscle. If you are constantly in a negative nitrogen balance state, it will be more difficult and eventually your body will begin to even break down protein and muscle. So we understand we want to be in a positive nitrogen balance, but where does this come into with these foods? And by the way, I will give you examples of these foods in a sec, but I want to explain to you this. When you're consuming a food that's higher in fiber, protein, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, these things slow digestion down. They also create a more balanced response in the body. So when you're ingesting these foods, there is not a massive spike in insulin, for example, that causes your body to shuttle all the nutrients in its blood into the muscles quickly. And this results in a quick drop in nitrogen balance in the blood. So again, these high quality foods create a much more moderate, a much more balanced response of insulin in the body, which means that that the body takes its time dispersing evenly these nutrients out of the bloodstream into the cells, creating a positive nitrogen balance for a longer period of time. Whereas when you eat the chocolate bar, you will get a positive nitrogen balance, but for a much more shorter period of time. However, there are cases where the chocolate bar, the cake, the donuts could still be beneficial, which we'll talk about at the end. So just to break down some foods, to give you some actual tangible examples of foods that will be best to hit your macros with and promote maximum muscle gain, we've got, let's say on the protein side of things, lean cuts of meat, fish, egg whites, cottage cheese, even Greek yogurt in some cases, typically the plain flavor instead of vanilla that's got a lot of added sugars in there. On the carb side of things, okay, now when you couple these lean proteins and these high quality protein sources with a high quality carbohydrate source, then you've really got something that's gonna last a long time in terms of retaining a positive nitrogen balance in the body. This is why you typically see a classic meathead meal, which I must admit I am responsible for having myself quite often, is chicken, broccoli, and rice, okay? Now, rice would be a higher quality form of carbohydrate, specifically brown rice, okay? Again, higher fiber content, vitamins, minerals. This is what makes a food higher quality. So brown rice, sweet potato, whole grain types of breads or pastas, beans, these types of sources for carbs are ideal, especially when paired with those lean protein sources that I mentioned. And then when it comes to fats, fats are great because they're gonna slow digestion down even more. They're gonna help satiate us, okay, keep us more full. And of course, they help regulate those hormones even further, insulin being one of them. So regulating the hormones as well as providing us with more vitamin and mineral dense foods. The healthiest fat sources, for example, would be avocados, any sort of nuts, seeds. Those types of fat sources are ideal. Even some oils are fine too, like some extra virgin olive oil has been shown to be very beneficial from a fat side of things. Now, another key here is vegetables. Now, for some reason, I see a lot of people eating the brown rice, the chicken breast, you know, the healthy fats. But where are all the damn veggies, okay? It seems that most people have forgotten how important veggies are, and I highly recommend coupling veggies with every single meal that you have, because guess what? Veggies provide more nutrients, more vitamins and minerals, and each vitamin and mineral plays a very important role in the body as well as the macronutrient that it's tied to. And so this is only going to not only increase the duration of a positive nitrogen balance in the blood, but of course it's gonna help with other more smaller minor processes in the body that help facilitate an environment where muscle can and will be built. So do not neglect your veggies. If you're somebody who's having just chicken and rice, add veggies to that meal. So now if the majority of your calories are coming from foods such as the ones I mentioned in this video, of course there are plenty more similar, okay, that fit into the same categories what I mentioned. If the majority of your calories are coming from that, then you're going to be maximizing your efforts in the gym, you're going to be maximizing your recovery, and of course, the gain. With that said, keep in mind, flexibility is key, because after all, I believe most of you watching do also want to have a life as well as just making your life about gaining some muscle. And so for those people, everybody out there, I definitely recommend some flexibility. There are times when the cake, the donuts have their place or is good to have. And by the way, one of those times is post-workout. So right after you finish a workout, muscles have been broken down, your protein synthesis is elevated. This is a great time to actually get a spike of fast-acting carbs like the donuts, the cake. Again, if you can couple it with protein, would be ideal, because that's actually going to create a high insulin response. It's going to push all those nutrients into your muscle cells and begin the recovery process faster. Now, I'm not saying always have cake and donuts post-workout, but if you're going to have them, ideally placing them in that window would probably make the most out of them. But again, we all want to have a life, and there's going to be plenty of situations where it's okay to have that, so long as, again, at least 80%, I would say, of your calories are coming from the nutrient-dense sources I mentioned earlier. Not to mention, if you're tracking everything, as hopefully if you've been following me for a while, you know that that's what I believe in. If you're tracking everything, you can in fact make these fit and still move towards your goals seamlessly and enjoyably. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this one helpful. If so, make sure you hit the subscribe, like, share, and comment below whatever else you'd like to see and what you thought of this video, and I will be catching y'all in the next one. I'm out.